All right, we're recording. All right, we're back here with episode 36 of the GameFi Rundown. As you can see, we got TSG here along with the Jimbo, like normal. TSG, how you doing?
What's up, man? What's good? Thanks for having
Uh,
me on. Excited
I know I'm
to be
glad
back.
glad to have you back. It hasn't even been that long. I think I was just looking back, and you were on, I think episode 30 or 31. Already
Oh
back for
wow, really?
episode 36. Yeah.
Crazy, crazy. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the start of the new year, right? There's a lot that's kind of happened last year. We'll recap some of that, talk about the stuff that's happening this year. Bunch of big stuff happening. So it'll be cool just to kick back.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Always a pleasure to have you on. Jimbo, how are you?
I'm doing great. I mean, we got it over here on the right, but the Bitcoin ETF just got approved, so everything's feeling good. We're going back to heaven, no more hell. So I'm feeling good.
Hey, so
Crazy.
yeah, speaking of this Bitcoin ETF, I mean, we saw a little bit of volatility, but it didn't really pump. It didn't really dump. It's kind of just been like hovering there. But I did notice that a lot of the alts started pumping. ILV, went up. It was probably around what, close
Like
to
10%, right? It
$88.
was like
Yeah,
10%
it
up.
went up a
Yeah.
good 10%. Things are, even though Bitcoin hasn't really like done too much, it looks like it's starting to flow back into the alts, which is definitely good for a lot of the people viewing this channel. Did either of you guys, I don't know about you, TSG, because you're not in the US, but buy any of these ETFs, Jimbo?
Dude, what? I'm buying a Bitcoin ETF. Are you kidding me? What the
I bought
hell?
some.
Why?
There's a good reason. Yeah, yeah. We
Yeah,
spoke about it
we
before, but yeah.
see. We were just talking about this before you came on. Like, I have a Roth IRA. So if you're not
Mhm.
familiar with that in
Okay.
the United States, like, it's a retirement fund. If you wait until you're like 60 years old, you can pull it out tax free. So anything that I buy, if I buy this Bitcoin ETF for my Roth IRA, I wait about 25 years when Bitcoin's like $1 million, then I can pull it all out tax free. So like there is a benefit to someone like me buying Bitcoin. Now I wouldn't just buy it for a regular portfolio. I like my self custody. I'll buy it on Coinbase, move it to my ledger or whatever. But this gives me an opportunity to easily put it into my retirement fund, which is a reason I've been so bullish on it, because there's a ton of other people in this country or in this world thinking the same thing. Like, I just want to get some Bitcoin into my retirement fund, and once people put it there, they're going to forget about it for 20, 30, 40 years. What I just bought today probably won't touch it for 25 years. And that's just going to be more Bitcoin, more liquidity in the market. So maybe you should do some of that too, Jimbo.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. But no, I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not going to do that, even though I should because I'm lazy. But no, I'm just pumped for the reason that you gave why that like it passed and stuff. Because price go up, you know what I mean? I mean,
Jesus
and
Christ.
like you were talking about like no, like I care about like crypto and stuff, but price go up means like the foundation becomes stronger in crypto and I have more things that I can do in crypto. So it's not just like price go up, yeah, I'm rich. It's like I have more opportunities to do more fun stuff.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it'll just in general. I think it's nice to see, man. Considering that we've all been in the industry for a little bit now, I think we all survived. I mean, not I think I know we all survived the latest bear. I don't know if any of you guys were here prior to that. I wasn't, but we've seen that first. Or I've seen my first bull bear cycle, and I know what that feels like for one one season, right? And I know there have been multiple people that have been here much longer to see that validation and coming from the regulators in the states. I think that's a huge kind of like thumbs up and the green light for this industry. It's okay, we see what you guys are doing, we understand what's happening, not maybe not understand, but we accept that this is a thing that's not going to go away. And I've been watching some of Raul Paul's stuff recently. I like his take on macro and things like that. And one of the things he always talks about is you can ask anyone, do we believe that the world is going to become more or less digital? Everyone is going to say it's going to become more digital. So, with that being the case, why would currency be exempt from that? It wouldn't. So, it looks like the regulators are acknowledging that, okay, we are moving towards a more hyper digitalized global world. Bitcoin is going to have that staying power, right? It's going to be there. It can be used in India, China, America. It can be used all over the world. Antarctica, even like it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can own a piece of this thing that is available globally. And to to just cut the average investor out of that completely is going to add more risk than safety. So I think regulating it, accepting it, and introducing that Bitcoin is a massive green light for the industry as a whole to show that, okay, we may not agree with it 100%, but they understand that this is the direction that they're going, and they're taking those steps to enforce the laws around that. So I'm very, very happy with this.
Yeah, and this is opening the door to, you know, more ETFs. Like I just put out a video this morning about like kind of more or less an ILV prediction video, but somebody made a comment of just like, now that the Bitcoin ETF is out, that opens the door for an Ethereum ETF. When you get an
100%.
Ethereum ETF, which could be coming, you know, as soon as March, I believe, but might not come that early. But I think we'll get it, and then when we get that, then everything in the Ethereum ecosystem starts pumping too. So that could be great for, you know, a coin like ILV or a lot of these other
Yeah.
gaming coins.
One thing that I want to just bring up, and I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with it, but when the gold ETF came in, I think a lot of people were expecting like a massive like god candle with this, but I don't think that's the case. I think major institutions, even like the retirement funds and things like that, they're going to be starting to buy this Bitcoin ETF in small allocations, and it's going to take a while for us to see that. It's not going to be an instantaneous god candle. It's going to give it 5 or 10 years, and that's when we start to see the institutional capital start really moving in, especially if we do start seeing a bit more of a risk on appetite in the macro economy, which it seems like is none of this is financial advice. This is just my perception of what I'm seeing. But if that is my assumption and that's what we're going to be seeing, I think in the next couple of years is when we start to see more of that capital kind of come in through institutions. But yes,
Yeah,
I shouldn't be talking too much about price and capital
yeah,
movement. I apologize.
yeah. But like I was saying, like when more and more people start adding this to their retirement fund, like most of those people are not going to be selling it. They're just
Mm,
buying it and holding it for 20, 30, 40 years.
yeah.
So I tend to think things are going to keep going up, but we'll see.
Yeah. I
Um,
don't condone or reject that statement. I'm a
yeah. All right. So let's move on. So the Illuvium roadmap. So the actual roadmap. Let me pull it up here. This was posted a couple weeks ago. There wasn't a whole lot of change here, except one of the big things was open beta or the what are they saying it? The open public beta launch was moved to Q2. But we have heard Kieran and some other people from the team saying that that was more of a, you know, they conservatively moved that to Q2 on the roadmap, but they're still aiming and there is still a possibility for a late Q1 release on that. And then, before I get you guys' thoughts on that, then this is something that Viper reposted here that Nick posted in Discord. There's probably 100 points here of all their priorities, like the high priorities, the low priorities. I made some notes here, some of the things that stood out to me. A lot of back end development still needs to be done. Automatic distribution of leaderboard rewards, which I think will be cool for when there's rewards for PvP and where we already have rewards for Illuvium
beyond.
Beyond, maybe even
Yeah.
some rewards coming for Illuvium Zero. Then we got a referral program. There was mention in here of a lending platform, mega cities, and then a lot of just like UI UX updates. But between the roadmap and everything that like Nick was posting and talking about, like what are you guys, you know, expecting over this next really 3 to 6 months?
Jimbo, I'll let you I'll let you jump on this one
Yeah,
first.
I should probably call out who's going to talk, right? Yeah, Jimbo, what do you
Uh,
think?
a conservative release in Q2, I don't think that's conservative personally. I think like Q2 release is pretty much set in stone. I don't see any way that they can get it out within Q1. I mean, I'm not on the team. I can't see what's going on behind the scenes, but as like a person looking from the from outside looking in, like there's no way it comes out in Q1. I'm definitely expecting like late Q2, possibly early Q3. Like I could see
Oof.
it there being another situation where it's like a week or two after Q3 where it comes out, but um, I really don't think it's that big of a deal if that happens. But it is what it is. If it does, I think we're in. I think we're looking good regardless. To be honest.
Yeah, so TSG, you obviously have a little more insider information than us, so don't share too much. But
Yeah.
and I will say I don't think this is insider information, but just being on the community council and talking to some people on the team, like I have been hearing directly from them that Q1 is a possibility. Although you always take it with a grain of salt. Like obviously they put Q2 there, so it's just like why put it out in Q1 if they already announced that it's going to be Q2? But I mean, TSG, what do you think on this?
Uh, yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that I would say, whether it is Q1 or Q2, I think the biggest thing is that everyone kind of takes a step back and understands that developing these things comes with situations and issues that we can't plan for, right? Regardless of that, we see the progress that we've made, considering where we started without any game, and then survival, and then overworld, and then upgrades to overworld, and then PvP and Illuvium. It's not like the team aren't doing anything; they're sitting on their hands. Like that's obviously not the truth. We've seen the progress, and I really liked. I don't know if it's possible if you can bring this one up, Najib, but I really liked what Illuva did when they put out the progress map on their Twitter, on their X account. There was an image where they showed everything that happened in 2023. And I mean, when you look at that, and it's funny, I spoke about it with Scariox yesterday when we did the download, where we looked at it and it gave me PTSD, realizing how many campaigns we did back to back to back, how many releases we had back to back to back. So yeah, that one, the year in review. Yeah, so you can see all the stuff that's come out. Like there was quite a lot that came out. So the team is actively working, doing things. So whether it is Q1 or Q2, like the game is, we're not running away. The game's coming out. We've obviously come out with PvP. Look, there were pros and cons with that release. The pro was we finally got a PvP mode out there in the public. Like that's incredible. The foundation of that game, I think, is a very strong foundation to build up. I've spoken to countless TFT streamers, Hearthstone streamers, all of these guys. And one of the feedback that they've given us, one of the positive feedbacks that they've given us is the state of the game compared to where TFT was at its launch is much better. And I think people forget it that we're so used to playing games like TFT and all these like really good games that that's the standard we expect. But that's because they're established games. Starting at the first beta of the game, it's not going to be perfect. And I mean, I think even Zeptile kind of has been hypercritical for quite some time. And he's come out and actually said, hey, I've spoken to some TFT guys, and even they've said that we're much better off than where TFT was. And he's kind of changed his tune a bit and kind of reassessed where he's looking and be like, okay, we're actually not that, considering where we started, like this is an excellent starting point. So with that being the case, that's not saying that we're perfect. We have a lot of things that we need to change with iterations. So again, it's finding that balance of, okay, we're making great progress, but how do we get it to where we want it to be? Where is that final point that we can get it to be? Because the potential is clearly here. We're hearing it from players inside our community, outside our community, TFT, Hearthstone guys, Legends of Runeterra guys. All of them have seen the potential of the game. Even the Team Liquid guys. I mean, I'm speaking to one of them, and he's just randomly messaging me. He finally got access to Overworld, and over the New Year period, I just got a random message from him being like, "Bro, Overworld is insane." I'm like, "Man, you like Overworld the way it is now? Like we're not even like there's so much more that needs to be added." But okay, cool. Like if that's the experience and feedback we're getting straight off the bat, I think we're on the right path. So whether it's Q1 or Q2, just don't get too caught up in your feelings and understand that there's a bigger picture being painted right now, and we're on the right path. Just be patient, like relax. Like there's no,
Yeah,
you don't need to
and
get stuck in your feelings.
yeah, and I didn't even catch this when this was posted, but looking at it now, the one thing that I could just think of is like not everybody, watching this channel or paying attention to Illuvium is interested in every part of Illuvium.
Mm.
So like if you're only interested in Illuvium Zero and you have land, you might have only seen two or three things throughout the whole year, and it seems like they're so spaced out. Or if you're maybe you're not into the merch store or Illuvium Beyond, and you're only looking at certain parts of Illuvium, it might seem like there's not constant updates, but if you're looking at Illuvium as a whole, there are constant updates
Yeah,
going on
yeah.
all the time. It might not be a part of the ecosystem you're paying attention to, but there is always something in the works.
I'm telling you, as someone from the market, that's why I said when I looked at this, I got PTSD. Like as someone from the marketing team, there's always something that goes on. Every time we get made a promise, all right, after this campaign, we might be able to chill, realign a little bit, and strategize. That's a lie. There's another campaign and another one and another one. It's just back to back to back. Like, we don't get time off. So yeah, like you said, I think people need to understand, just because it doesn't directly affect what you want, an individual wants, it doesn't mean something else isn't happening, right?
All right, so let's move on here to daily active users. So this, or not daily, monthly active users. So this was just posted last week. Basically, the active users over the past 3 months, although something for like Arena wasn't really out 3 months ago. But you can see Arena is definitely taking over with 37,000 monthly active players, which I think for a beta is pretty good, to be honest with you. Zero is sitting around 2,000, which doesn't surprise me. I think earlier in the year that might have been more when the alpha season started. And then the overworld, 4,000 monthly active users. I'm actually kind of surprised on that because overworld has kind of just slipped my mind the past few months since Arena's been out, but people are enjoying that too. But the big number here is that the Arena, the PvP with 37,000 monthly active users. What do you think about that? Is that good right now for a beta, seeing we're not on the blockchain? Still, a lot of balancing that needs to happen. What are your thoughts on that, TSG?
I mean, yo, I'll throw it to. I've actually got some numbers, so I'm really keen to hear Jimbo's thoughts first, if that's cool.
I think 40,000 monthly active users is actually pretty damn good, especially for a game just came out. I mean, it didn't just come out, right? Like, we've had Arena, but like PvP just came out. And something that was interesting as well that I saw, all of those graphs like look the same. So it's like linear between all of the games. When Illuvium as a whole gets more popular, all of the games kind of grow at the same rate, which is pretty interesting.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm not really surprised Arena's got that many players. The queue times have been a little bit long, so I'm surprised it's that high. But like, we're growing exponentially. Like, it's a very, very fun game. I would be surprised if we weren't growing like that.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what January numbers look like because
Yeah.
in December there was that the emote thing where like if you played 25 matches you get the emotes.
Exactly.
So that definitely encouraged more gameplay. I know I was playing more because there was an incentive there. So yeah, I'd like to see what January comes out with. But then I know we got possible leaderboard rewards coming soon, which is also gonna bump numbers up again whenever that comes out.
Where is that publicly, by the way? Like, what does the public know about that? Nothing much, right?
Yeah, see, I'm kind of in the middle too. Like I
Yeah.
probably know stuff that I shouldn't say either. All
Yeah.
I know is that it's out there that it should be coming soon.
Okay, cool.
Leaderboard rewards?
I mean, all of us
Right?
because Jimbo, you're on.
No.
Oh no, Jimbo's not on the council anymore.
No. So
Why you
we
sound,
don't know
You
anything.
sound offended
So
when I said that.
no. I'm just saying, like, we don't know anything, so I can speak for that
Okay.
situation.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but
Yes, I
it
won't
has
say too
been.
much.
It's definitely been mentioned publicly
Yes.
That it's
like
coming. Yeah.
that it could be coming at some point.
That
Yeah,
that there
I
is
know.
something
I know.
in the works. Yes.
Yeah, because Zeptile put an idea out there about like delaying those. So I know it's been talked about. And again, I don't want to say too much. It could be coming sometime in the future. But anyways,
It can't be coming sometime in the past, can it?
true. But TSG, what are your thoughts on this? You said you got some numbers for us?
Yeah, cool. I just sent you an image in Discord. I don't know if you can bring that up on the browser or something like that. But yeah, so the numbers that we were looking at was like 30,000, right? And I think I'll address one of the things that has been brought up previously about retention. Okay, yes, it's monthly active players, but what kind of retention are we seeing? We're very much aware, like I said, the game isn't perfect in its current state. We're not stupid. We know that. It's a good start, and we're actively working to make that game a much better game and reach its potential so we can really hold on to that retention. And
what are we looking at here, by the way?
yeah, okay. So these numbers are the monthly active players when Axie launched. And so when you look at that in February 2020, they started at 10,000, then 18, then it went back down to 8, then 12.5, 24 went back down to 12.5, 40,000, 32,000, 50,000. It took them 9 months before they hit that real peak velocity where they start going parabolic, with that 200,000, and then it goes to 450,000, then 600, then 850, 900, a million. Right? It took them 9 months before they hit that ground level that they just shot off from. And we're looking at them at 10,000 to start off with, 18,000. We're starting with that 37,000 number. I think if people understand, again, same thing with Axie. Was Axie a perfect game when they launched? No, it took them 9 months to get to where they needed to go. I think we're moving much faster than Axie is. And I think that our game is much better than Axie is. And we're moving into, again, what I specifically, Tarren, not anything to do with Illuvium, perceived to be a potential bull run. If that is the case and the gaming cycle does take over, I think with the leaderboard rewards and some of the other incentives that we have planned, I think we're in a very good position. And what I see a lot in the community, and not specifically our community, but just in general, is people's lack of ability to look at things objectively. Like they look at it, oh yeah, but the retention, yes, okay, but objectively as a whole, what does the whole picture look like? And I think we've kind of touched on this multiple times already, where they look at a single data point and paint the whole picture out of that single data point rather than looking at all the various data points. We kind of mentioned that already with they only care about Illuvium 0, so they say nothing's happening, but that's just objectively not true. And I think it's the same thing here. They say, okay, monthly active users is 37,000, but what about player retention? Yes, but that's one point of the picture. We'll compare it with other games like Axie. Look at the entirety and build your narrative around that, build your thought process around that. So yeah, is where we're at great? I mean, we can do much better, 100%. Is it bad? Far from it. I think we're in a very solid position and very excited for the next coming months. If we can kind of shoot off in the next couple months with the next couple of iterations, I think we're in a very, very, very good position.
Yeah, it's funny because I was actually just prepping another video I was going to make where I was comparing some things to Axie, and I was looking at similar charts for revenue from Axie, and I'm sure it would be pretty similar to this chart. And you were only showing us up to November 2020 here.
I mean, I can
Things
show you more.
really got crazy.
I can give you the website if you want. You can bring it up.
No, we're good. We don't need to bring it.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is like just from November to November 2020, it was really June and July of 2021 where things like really went parabolic for them. So even though they were having that, like they had some growth towards the end of 2020, it got even like massively more bullish from there. So we could see that with Illuvium. We could see some smaller spikes up, and then we could have 1 month where things triple, like out of nowhere.
So, like I'll do. Bring this up if you can. I'll just so we can actually look at it and like again. I want to if we can use this, and even it'd be good if you clip this up for an actual clip on your channel. But if we can educate some of the community about how this actually looks like in reality, not just their minds, I think it'd be a really cool thing to do. If you scroll all the way down, there's actually live monthly player detailed down slightly. Down below this, there's a table below this. Yeah. And you can scroll down, and it's a set to scroll down even more. This is 2023. You can click the number 2 button. Yeah, the second tab. And you can see it. So what we were looking at before, I stopped it at November. And so you can see September is 50,000, and then it went up by 4x to 200,000, then doubled in November to 450. This is where I was getting those numbers from: 600, 800, a million, like, and it goes 1.3, 1.3, 1.5. Yeah. So you can see that it's gradually getting bigger and bigger. But if you compare it from that October of 200,000, it's essentially done a 9x in those couple of months till August, right? So that's how these games grow. It's not, you launch the game, millions of players, hundreds of thousands of players. That just doesn't happen unless you're an IP like Pokemon or Diablo or something like that. You're not going to see that massive influx of players immediately. And I think looking at Axie being the one success case, I guess, in our space is a good one to look at to see how that adoption actually comes into play. And again, they started with 10,000 on mobile. We're starting on 37,000 on PC. Like it's again, take the successes where they are, and again, criticize where it deserves to be criticized, but look at all data points.
Yeah, I do like to compare to Axie because, like you said, it's the one project that like really had that success, at least in that short term. But they do have one big advantage over Illuvium is that they were mobile, so there was a lot more of this world that was able to play Axie Infinity that may not have that opportunity for, at least part of Illuvium's ecosystem. But yeah, it's definitely a good comparison. Even the video I put out this morning where I went through what I think ILV could do, I did some comparison to
Yeah.
what the AXS token did in 2021.
Yeah, I saw that.
All right, so there's been some talk. I don't know how much talk there really has been in Discord, but I know I've been seeing this a little bit. Kind of the discussion around what do we do with Wave 3 of Illuvium Beyond? Because originally, when we were expecting open beta possibly in Q4 of 2023, the idea was, oh, well, Wave 3 might be coming out around the same time as open beta. But now that that's being pushed back a little bit more, and we're looking at possibly Q2, according to Jimbo, maybe even Q3. Do we when's the best time for Wave 3 to come out? There's the argument of wait for open beta. That was the plan. That's when we're going to get the influx of new people into the community that are going to want to buy it. But then there's the people who are saying if you don't give the community anything to participate in to buy from Illuvium, then they're going to get bored with it and they're going to lose focus and leave and go find something else to do. Maybe they find a different game where they can start throwing some money over there. So, what are your thoughts on this? Do we try to keep, Wave 3 coming towards around open beta, or do you think
What are
it should be
your
something
thoughts?
that comes out a little earlier?
What are your
What's that?
thoughts on this? What are your
What are
thoughts
my
on
thoughts?
Yeah.
So I do
Because
have
you're
some
probably
thoughts
the
on this.
biggest. You're the biggest Beyond player out of all of us, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say so. I'm kind of torn down the middle. And one of my reasons for actually waiting closer to open beta is that we're gonna have all of these Illuvatars for set 1 within, what is it, 5 or 6 waves. So if we have wave 3 that comes out before open beta hits, then we get to open beta, we're only gonna have wave 4 and wave 5 before we end up having a big gap until a whole second set of alluvials come out. So I think that bigger gap in the back end there could be a bigger problem. So I'd rather see the gap happen now, wait a little bit for that wave 3, maybe even extend the time of the waves so that we can kind of, sync it up with the last Illuvatars are going to be coming towards the end of the first set. And then when a whole new set of alluvials come out, then we can start thinking about Illuvium Beyond set 2 wave 1, instead of having that big gap at the end. But I do understand what people are saying about, there are people participating in Illuvium Beyond, and if we go 3 months and there's nothing for them to participate in, then they're going to get bored. So I see that side of it too. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to know both of your thoughts. Whoever wants to go first.
Jimbo?
Yeah,
Jimbo.
I'll go ahead and go first. I'm not the biggest Illuvatars fan, obviously. I do like it. I love it. But and I'm sorry to the people who love Illuvatars, but we need to not be taking risks right now. Honestly, that's my perspective. And I think one big risk that we would take is not releasing Wave 3 with open beta when we get those influx of players. It's better for us because we can buy all of those discs and there's a low supply because there wasn't as many people here. But that's really, really bad for Illuvium as a whole. We have to be making money. It's not just making money to make money because you're greedy. It's we actually have to make money so we can be profitable and be a business. So I personally would like to maximize profits. And during this bull run, and as a whole, this is kind of off topic, but I would love to see Illuvium take as little risk as possible financially. So just in general, that would be in line with that point of view, is releasing Wave 3. Not even, it doesn't have to be when open beta hits, but just as long as there's a giant portion where open beta release comes in, we have to maximize that revenue from my perspective. I don't see why we would let that go to waste.
Yeah, I don't think there's any possibility or any reason why we should have a wave that ends before open beta. But I could see, if we know open beta is coming out in a month, you could have wave 3 start now and
Yeah,
then carry over 2 months into open beta.
I don't think that's bad at all.
Yeah, I don't think that would be too bad. But yeah,
From
having wave
from a
3 start
marketing
and
perspective,
finish would be a problem.
yeah.
What's
I was
that?
going to say, I'll let you continue, but I just want to say, from a marketing perspective, even what you're saying makes more sense, where because you don't want to be doubling up or clashing messaging when it comes to campaigns. So if we had Wave 3 and Open Beta at the same time, it'd be mixed messaging, which isn't ideal. It loses impact on both of the campaigns.
Yep.
So doing something maybe a month before Beyond Wave 3, a month before, and then leading up into it, it gives us time to do that campaign for Wave 3, moving into the campaign for Open Beta, and they can flow accordingly rather than at the same time. So yeah, from a marketing point of view, that is a more sound approach. Yeah, I'm trying to use my words very, very carefully.
The other thing that I'd like to see, like personally, is that at least once we hit open beta, that at any point someone joins in the community, they're able to buy some Illuvatars. So instead of having gaps between waves, I think it would be cool where it's just like maybe you extend it so it's like a 4 month period of wave 3, but then have wave 4 immediately start when wave 3 ends. So no matter when you're jumping into the ecosystem, you have discs to buy. There won't be that gap in between. It'll just be like, buying Pokemon cards. Like you go to the store and you can buy a set of Pokemon cards, and if one day a set's running low, maybe the next set is just popping up in the stores like the next day or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you can always buy Pokemon cards for the most part. So why not have a system where you can always buy discs? Any thoughts on that,
Yeah.
Jimbo?
I don't know. I mean, you can buy them off the secondary market, so I don't really see it like that. But I kind of see your point of view where it's like it doesn't make sense to not have a sale going. But I don't know. I'm not huge on the marketing side of that in general, but whatever maximizes revenue is what I want. I'll leave it up to the experts, bro.
Always giving somebody an opportunity to buy, I think would be.
There shouldn't be a break. If the goal is to maximize, you shouldn't be giving people breaks.
Then I take that point.
Yeah. I mean, like, again, I'm not going to claim that 100% know that that's the case, but I mean, if you look at any game or just any product in the world, they don't just say, okay, we stop. I mean, unless they're exclusive products, but most of the time it's, okay, this product is out from here. The moment this stops, the next one comes on. Or sometimes they even overlap, like video games. You can still buy GTA 6 when GTA 5, like, they're both going to be out at the same time, right? I don't think there's ever a point where it's like, okay, you're not allowed to buy it anymore, and then it comes out, unless they're hyper exclusive, which I think we're trying to move away from. Like, yes, it's a collectible, but it's not meant to be hyper exclusive, which is not the ethos of Beyond, as far as I'm aware. I mean, I could be very wrong in that, but I think it's meant to be more a fun thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think the alpha discs are the ones that are supposed to be more exclusive.
Exactly.
But then everything else is supposed to be accessible,
Correct.
to anybody.
That is my assessment. Yes. Yeah. I won't say too much on the timing of Beyond Wave 3. I'll leave that to the community and the council and things like that.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll be hearing more about that soon, because now that just on the 15th, so in a couple days from when this video gets posted, is going to be your last chance to buy a disc for, right now we don't know for how long, because we don't know when this Wave 3 is going to be coming. So if you want to buy some discs and you want to, have some to open up, if you need to hit a dopamine in the next couple months, you might want to pick some up before this wave ends. But all right, so let's just move on to this last topic here. I just want to talk a little bit about the airdrops for Web3 gaming projects, because we're seeing more of that. At least I'm seeing more of that this run than I saw a couple years ago. I think Big Time was the game that really made it popular, at least from what I saw, because they were doing a ton of airdrops for people who were just playing. I didn't get involved too much, so I don't know if it was based on time played or they had to do certain objectives, but they were just airdropping tokens like crazy, and people were making a ton of money. Then just a couple weeks ago, Mavia made another big announcement that they're basically global launch coming here in January, probably in the next couple weeks, but they're going to have a pioneer program where through multiple seasons they're going to be doing airdrops of the Mavia token. And then we've heard hints of airdrops possibly coming, or maybe I wouldn't necessarily call them airdrops for Illuvium, but there could be some rewards coming for Illuvium Zero. I mean, what are your thoughts on having airdrops, like these type of airdrops for the community? Like, is that good to get the community more exposure to the coins, or is that something that's just gonna lead down just inflating the token too much, people selling it, crashing things? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
When you say airdrop, do you mean the token specific?
Yeah, well, so
Because
for with
that's a different that like there's two different conversations to be had.
Yep.
If you're airdropping tokens, there's pros and cons to that. If you're airdropping specific assets, there's pros and cons to that as well. But they're two
yeah,
completely separate conversations.
well, I mean, let's talk about the difference here. So I know with Big Time and Mavia, I think they were both actually doing both. They were airdropping some of their main token, and they're going to be airdropping some in-game assets. I mean, what do you think about both of those? One's
Uh,
better than the other, obviously.
I mean, I think they both have they'll have different effects. But again, I'm very keen to hear Jimbo's. I mean, Jimbo, if you're down for it, I want to see your thoughts first, and I'll jump in
Yeah,
secondary. That's cool.
so for the ILV token, I don't see why it's necessary. Honestly, I think we should kind of get away from like find those kinds of assets being airdropped in Web3 gaming. I think what we should go for is not like resources inside of the game, but just cosmetics. I can see like cosmetics being airdropped if you did this or that inside of the game, but as far as like the ILV token, not huge on it, but skins don't have impact on like game integrity, and you can just kind of cook them up and throw them at people and they love them. So I don't see anything wrong with using skins. Maybe like like consumable like shards or stuff. I wouldn't like to see that personally, but skins are always fine. They don't
Yeah,
affect anything.
but dropping the coins really it brings new people to the game. Like, I know a lot of people who jumped into Big Time because of hearing people were making a ton of money from these airdrops. And I
And
know there's been a lot of hype with Mavia right now because they hear, oh, the Mavia token is going to be airdropped. So I mean, there is
and what are the cons that you? So those are the pros, but what are the cons that you see with that approach?
with airdropping the tokens.
Mm.
I look at it similar to like how Axie Infinity was, back in the day. They weren't airdropping coins, but but you were getting, the SLP tokens just from simply playing the game. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, you kind of had to win, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you were just basically getting airdropped SLP tokens every day just from playing, and then that just it inflated the market too much, and then you get to a point where you have more people selling it than buying into it, and then it tanks everything. So
And
that's what I wanted to bring this up in a segment for, because something like Big Time right now they're still going strong, but at some point could all those airdrops come back to haunt them?
yeah,
We keep
uh,
losing Jimbo here.
yeah, it's all right. We don't need it.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my internet.
Yeah. So with that, Najee, yes, all of those. Like, I agree with those pros and cons. How do you think we can mitigate the cons? How could we? Do you have a solution on how we could do that with the I? Let's just say hypothetically with the ILV token. How could we do this while mitigating as many of the cons as possible? Is there a solution? That's a good question.
That is a good question. Yeah, you're putting me on the spot here.
Yeah.
I mean, what the one thing that ILV has going for it, which I'm not 100% sure on Big Times coin, is that like there is a max supply. So even if airdrops are coming, it's not like we're overinflating for the long term because we're gonna hit that.
Where would the ILV tokens come from then? Based on our tokenomics, where would you
It
like to see those tokens come from if we were to go down this explore this
I mean, it would have to come from the in-game rewards pool.
the
So
million
the
million dollar pool,
million,
million token pool?
yeah.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Okay. So
I can't see it coming from anywhere else unless there was some kind of
yeah,
Rev Dis model where they bought back the coins and instead of giving it as Rev Dis, they airdropped them. But that's similar, anyways.
I mean you could always say a percentage of it gets aired, but yeah, yeah. Okay. So the pros of the token airdrop. Okay. So some of the pros I've taken notes were yes, increased like user acquisition. It's an amazing marketing thing that you can say, hey guys, like we've seen it happen with essentially Axie, like you're bringing up two great examples now with Mavia as well as Big Time. It brings a bunch of people into the ecosystem, which is there is value to that. Whether they're trying to raise funds, they can now market their monthly active users, daily active users as much higher than what it truthfully is. I guess is maybe not the right way to say it, but they can present these numbers factually to get maybe more of a raise from a VC or something like that. So even when you look at it when they're comparing it against competitors, having a much larger DAU or MAU is a cool thing to flex on other competitors to show that you guys are the fun thing. You guys are the ones to be at. That's where the party is at, right? No one wants to go to a party where there's two people. Everyone wants to go to the party where you can't get in, and that's that's kind of that idea. So that's definitely one of the pros there. In terms of how it's airdropped, there are various ways to do it. Whether you're a token holder, whether you're playing the game, whether you're achieving certain things. I like the idea of what we're doing with rewarding top players, not just rewarding active players. I think that's one of the mitigating factors already. People that are top players generally are going to be more invested in the ecosystem regardless, which means that it mitigates one of the cons of the pump and dump or just the sell pressure. When you do something like this, there's a lot of sell pressure. You're essentially incentivizing extractors to come into the ecosystem. And like I said before, that's not necessarily a con if you're looking to raise. There are reasons why you want more participants in your ecosystem, whether they're extractors or not. But the balance is how do we kind of mitigate the amount that they extract, right? So these are just some of the things that we need to be considering when we do that. Are they the type of people we want for the long term? What is the objective of an airdrop like that? Does it match? Does it align with our short-term objectives, mid-term, and long-term objectives? Yeah, there's a bunch of things that we need to consider when opting in for a strategy like this. And I think when we do have these discussions, it's good to, like, again, I keep going back to this, but look at all the data points, not just one or two. We need to have a holistic point of view about what we're discussing, not just saying, I want this, so this is the right thing to do. Like, it's just not a very holistic approach on how to discuss something that can be so impactful. Again, if we have that discussion now against assets, that's different. Is that going to have the same kind of user acquisition? Probably not, because people that aren't already in the ecosystem don't really care if they get a skin or not. Like, what value was that? That's going to be rewarding the core community and maybe bringing in a couple of people. Maybe a solution for that would be to do a partnership airdrop where you link up with a guild or something that's already popping, another game that's already popping, and having that airdrop so people are invested in both games, right? Like some or both parts. So there are, again, like that's why I just try and say with these type of things, there's pros and cons to both options. We just need to look at it holistically. I sound like a broken record. I've said it pretty much on every topic that we've discussed today, but it's a holistic approach.
Yeah, and like you're saying, there's definitely pros and cons both ways. Some people will see airdrops and be like, "Nah, it's a bad idea." Some people will say like, "Oh no, it's a great idea." But like, there are some projects that do it and it works successfully for them, and there are some projects that do something similar that it doesn't work out good. So I think it's more on an
And
individual basis. For Illuvium, it could work, could not. You don't know yet. I guess you got to do
yeah,
more research.
yeah, and I mean we already see it with the reward leaderboard rewards. It's not even an airdrop. It's rewards, right? Like we're already seeing that back and forth of, oh, is it good? Is it bad? Yo, we don't want extractors. And a lot of the conversation I'm seeing there is, and I'm sorry if this offends anyone, is very like they're looking at one data point or maybe two at tops. They're not looking at it holistically of, and I don't expect them to. Like it's very hard for someone on the outside being in the community to know exactly what the internal objectives are for the team and things like that. So I get it. Like I'm not kind of shouting them down or anything like that. But we're already seeing those conversations happen where again some are pro, some are against. And the thing is, I'm not saying one is better than the other. Even pro and against, I've found it almost impossible to find someone that has a holistic point of view explaining why their thought point of view is the right one. It's either I'm a top player, I want to get rewarded. I don't want extractors. I don't want rewards. Or I can't be a top player. I don't want rewards. Like
Yeah,
it's always the extremes and not a full picture that they're painting, which is interesting
yeah.
to see.
Yeah, no, I see that too. Well, that sums up pretty much this whole rundown. I think we had some good topics here. TSG, like you're always bringing in some great insight. I know you're always fighting out what you can say without saying too much, so that's why you might be rambling a little bit. You're probably thinking in your head like, "Oh, I probably shouldn't say that."
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, definitely great having you on, Jimbo. Thanks for joining as always. I won't tell everyone that you're like a half hour late today.
Oh my god.
There's only like 3 people still watching this. At
I'll
this
say
point
it
anyways.
publicly. I am so sorry for being that late. I am so sorry. I'm not even joking.
Hey, you know what? Me and TSG, we had 30 minutes to just like shoot the shit, talk about some random stuff.
We
Like,
haven't done that
it
in a
was
while.
good.
I've been meaning to
Yeah.
catch up with you guys. I've just had so much, so it was good. Yeah, it was good.
All right, so it doesn't matter that I was late. Cool.
It was horrible, man.
I'll be late next week. It's fine.
I'm now late for another meeting because of you, Jim, man.
Well,
Oh no.
it's all good. We're more important.
Definitely. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for watching. Episode 36 is in the books. Episode 37 is coming in 2 weeks. Haven't missed an episode in 72 weeks every other week. So holding strong. We're going to keep going through this bear market. We'll have TSG back on again. Hopefully Jimbo sticks around as long as possible.
What does that even mean?
For sure.
I don't know. I didn't think he was going to show up today, so like I got scared.
I'm sorry, dude. God.
All right. Over and out.
Bye-bye.